Williams County Board of County Commissioners meeting to order. Beth, will you call roll, please?
Barry,
Here.
Corey,
Here.
Bo,
Here.
David.
Here.
We have a quorum. We will continue. We need a motion to hold an executive session at 8:30 a.m. for attorney consultation to discuss the opioid litigation. The legal authority for holding an executive session in North Dakota Century Code Sections 44-04-19.1, 2, 5, 9, and North Dakota Century Code 44-04-19.2, 2. Then a motion, sorry, I'm getting verbatim here.
The motion will be made by a member, that's me.
Yeah, okay, wonderful. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Beth, roll call vote.
Barry,
Yes.
Corey,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Bo,
Yes.
David.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, let's start with the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve as presented, Mr. Chairman.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Beth, roll call vote.
Corey,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Bo,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
Motion passes. Okay, first up is new business, Williams, what is it? District 007. There we go, Williston Basins. It's now Williston Basin, thank you. Okay. Whoever wants to come up and speak to this. Yep. Easier to use the middle one because then you don't have to press a button the whole time.
Okay,
So,
I don't know how this works, so.
yep, just state your names for the record and then you guys can,
Dr. Victoria Arneson.
okay?
Audrey Larson?
And Lori Olson.
Got it, Beth?
Arneson, A-R-N-E-S-O-N.
All right. Is there a way to present? Or do you
Uh,
just want us to talk?
We can also give you handouts. Okay,
Perfect.
Otherwise, we, yeah.
that's fine. Do you have enough for everyone? Go collect the ones from Yep. Well, then I will shut this.
My last two are back here.
Three.
As you can see, we don't do this very often. You guys all make me nervous.
We shouldn't, we shouldn't. Yeah.
We can make it.
Okay.
Go for it.
All right.
Okay.
So first, thank you for having us. I'm Audrey Larson. I'm an assistant principal at Williston High School. One of my duties is to oversee our CTE programs. And as I'm sure you guys are aware of the legislative action to provide money for capital projects for CTE, Williston Basin School District is applying for a $10 million grant for that project to add on to our CTE space. Part of that project is to ask for matching funds. So we're here today to share a little bit about that project, hopefully ask for some, at least a letter of support, if not some financial pieces. One of the exciting parts about this CTE project is that it is not just for Williston Basin School District, but it is for the Williston, Williams County area, Williams, McKinsey, and Divide County areas. And so part of the grant is that they want to have at least 6 or more school districts working together to provide CTE services. And in this area, as you are aware, the school districts are far apart, and so it creates some challenges as far as sharing resources. We all love COVID or hate COVID or whatever, but it has provided us with some different technologies, I think, to make those sharing of resources easier across the board. And so part of our plan, along with Watford City, is to create a Northwest Area CTE Center, which would include satellite locations. And so Williston would be a satellite location, Watford City would have a satellite location, and potentially some of the other school districts would create their own satellite brick and mortar locations. And then from there, we share resources. Maybe those are virtual. Maybe some of the closer districts would travel to us. And so we would offer programs. Okay, I'm going to try and list them in alphabetical order. We'll see how I do. So the CTE programs that we're already offering, we would expand in with this new space. So we're offering agriculture, automotive technology, aviation, business, construction, family and consumer science, health science, information technology, and petroleum. So we would expand in all of those areas to increase our staff so that we have the ability to share our resources with districts around us. Some of the big targets for CTE is to provide workforce for our area. And so a couple of the big areas that we're really looking at expanding would be the health science area. We all know that those health science professions are needed. And so we are looking at partnering with the college to create some pathways so our students can step into some of their programs that they're going to be expanding to offering. Also, the automotive and diesel, a lot of the equipment that is used in this area is diesel run, and so we would like to continue to expand so that our students have opportunities to try that out before they go to a program. We're also looking at, we talked to Commissioner Anderson about some partnerships related to agriculture. We're excited about what those would look like as far as how new practices are working in agriculture. So those are a few items that we are working on, and I guess if you have any questions, I'll let you shoot them at me.
And I can just say, so far, we've met with the local area schools. Oh, sorry. Sorry. Lori Olson, interim superintendent. So we've met with the area local schools. We met with Glenora, Crosby, Ray, and talked to Alexander. We've gotten letter of supports from them saying that they do want to work with us and they do want to, we do want to share resources. I just talked to Dr. Holin at Watford yesterday and talked about how we are going to complement each other so that in our grants we're writing, if we're going to be buying, we talked about buying these big trailers which we could share for maybe welding or automation, that we would not buy the same things, but then we would share them. Newtown also has an area center right now that will be a satellite center. So then we'd all work together to share these resources and offer programs to students that are close to us. And so when we met with the College Foundation yesterday, and we talked about how, the students right now at Williston High School aren't necessarily going to Williston State College. So how can we make that pathway from Williston High School go right to the college? And I think with some of our programs, especially nursing, especially agriculture, that we can set up those classes for those students. So, if we have 300 students in nursing, there isn't any reason why they wouldn't go to Williston State College and get their 2-year degree and work right here at Sanford, the new hospital where we're working in. So I think Train ND is another big resource that we've been working with. And Kennelie Niebecker is also working with Watford, but they can bring in those classes to help, with OSHA safety. Some of these classes that they offer, we can get them right into our classes at the high school so that when our kids step out of the high school, they're ready to go right into the workforce. And they're going to have some of these necessary trainings that are available in our community. So, thanks.
Thank you. The North Dakota Department of Commerce speaks a lot to the fact that they've got about, well, over 25 billion in new projects coming to the state of North Dakota right now, and our biggest challenge is workforce. And so this is a great project to start helping to address this, so our students, as they come out of high school, are ready to jump into their work field.
You guys mentioned Watford, Mackenzie County, that area. Now, are they doing a separate grant, or is this a team effort where we're doing together?
They are doing their own grant for their own physical space.
Can you help Mrs. Larson explain, or somebody, how
Yeah, so the grant works in that the school districts can apply, or CTE centers can apply for $1, and then any dollar amount that we apply for, we need to match. So it's a dollar for dollar match from the state. Is that what you're looking for?
you had mentioned, I believe, or somebody did, a matching grant up to $10 million?
Yes.
And that's this.
The
your
max
your
amount,
goal?
yep, the max amount that we can apply for is 10 million, which double our money would be a $20 million addition to our current high school space. The picture that you have on the handout is a very preliminary piece. We've been working closely with some architects to do some design pieces, and they believe that we can have about a 42,000 square foot addition to our high school space, which would really help us meet that need. You hear that our high school is full and overcrowded. This space would allow us to filter between 400 and 500 students, which would alleviate some pressure from our current high school building.
Okay, because I had some conversations in the last week with members of the community on this. So I think for the benefit of the other commissioners, maybe that haven't, the grant, from what I was told, is what you're looking for now is a commitment.
Correct.
The dollars would not be expendable, let's say, for 2 years. Is that correct?
That is correct. So the grant application is due December 1st. And so we're busy writing that. I've got Dr. Arneson, grant writer extraordinaire, helping out. And so that grant is due. We would find out by the end of this year was the target deadline at one point. With the special legislative session, some of that may change in the next few days. But that is our deadline. The deadline to expend funds is December of 2024. So there is a time gap in there. So it's not like we need a check today. We just are looking for financial commitments.
Is there a commitment? I mean, where's the school at? What have the school committed?
The school has committed at least 1.6 million. The school board has asked that we reach out to our community and our community partners to see what sort of feelers there is out there. So we have been working hard. Last week we had a business partner night and had a few businesses, and we have some follow-up conversations. And then they will look at what that gap is between what we have been able to raise and what's left, and hopefully fill that in for us.
I'd just like to add too that the grant has to be spent by, if we are awarded it, it has to be spent by 2024. So, and when we're talking to the architects, we're looking at a 3-year project. So for kids to get right into the facility is probably going to be 3 years. So, you know, the commitment of money can be, you know, over that time when we need it, so.
Everybody's diligently reading.
Any other financial commitments in the foundation Anybody else, businesses or?
We have, this is Victoria Arneson. We have a few that we are looking at. Like Audrey said, we have some follow-up conversations to have. We've been working very closely with CHI, St. Alexius. We do have a letter of support from them also. Also Grayson Mills, who used to be Equinor, who used to be Stat Oil.
Used to be Brigham.
Yes, yes. And then also Knife River has said that they would like to donate. So it's just a matter of, we've kind of given the deadline of the 22nd, 23rd to see what we can come up with on our own. And then we have a board meeting and things like that. Yeah, and I do have 46 pages of the grant written. So if any of you want to read it, know more about what we're doing, our governance, facility, all of that, I can send what you have to it too. If anyone has extra reading time.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? Then how would you like to proceed?
Mr. Chairman, if I may, after the information that I received last week, I personally did some personal brainstorming, I guess, because I think this project is awesome. And in trying to find a way that Williams County could help, I went through our finances, and then I proceeded to visit with our finance director to make sure that the numbers that I was thinking would fit, and they have. So I guess to move this along, because I think it's a great project, as I stated earlier, I'm going to make a motion that, because it's benefiting not only the kids of Williston, the kids of Williams County, and the businesses in the future. I firmly believe. So I'm going to make a motion, Mr. Chairman, that Williams County makes a commitment of $5 million to this project.
Is there a second?
I will second that because I also agree that this is a great project and it could just be huge for the entire county, so.
Is there any additional discussion? Okay, hearing none, Beth, roll call vote.
Steve,
Yes.
Bo,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Corey.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Wow.
Thank you.
so
Wow.
much.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you guys for what you're doing.
And great news
Absolutely.
coming from the
This is great.
district.
Keep her rolling.
Yeah. Okay. Let's jump down to the Courthouse Cafe.
Good morning. Okay, so as you know, back in December 2017, we'd entered into a lease agreement with the Courthouse Cafe, a 5-year lease. At that time, it was owned by an informal partnership between Doretta Taylor and Cindy Gergen. Since that time, Doretta Taylor and Cindy Gergen's sort of informal partnership dissolved, and so Doretta Taylor was really the sole owner of the cafe. Recently, Doretta Taylor has decided to step back from the cafe, and so she's transferring the Courthouse Cafe assets and the business over to Ginny Gergen. And so under the current lease agreement with the Courthouse Cafe, they're not allowed to do that until they get consent from this board to transfer the lease over to Ginny's company. So, yeah, and so I'm just here to ask for a motion to agree to the consent to have Steve sign on authorize Steve to sign the consent agreement. So also, I have, if you have questions about it, Ginny is in the audience, and I know that, Verlin is here and wants to kind of say a few words from the sheriff's perspective, because under the lease agreement, it also provides for inmate meals, and so I think that the sheriff would like to say a few words.
Okay. Corey read you perfectly.
Morning, Commissioners. Yeah, the change here, I think, is reasonable and appropriate for the circumstances. They do supply the meals for the inmates to the correction center, and we have no problem with that continuing under Ginny's leadership.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thanks.
Okay.
Yeah, did you have any questions for Jenny at all, or any? And just so you know,
Pretty
she's,
straightforward.
this is just a consent to the current, to transfer the current lease, so it's not, doesn't extend it beyond what the current lease is, which is December 2022. We'd have to renegotiate the lease, and also under state law for the cafe, we'd actually have to advertise the cafe business, really. So, and then we'd also have to work with the sheriff's office in terms of the inmate meals, really, so.
Yep.
So we'd have to,
This is just to bat and clean up on the contract, right?
yeah, just to transfer the contract, of the lease agreement, yes, so.
Okay, what are the wishes of the board?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the changes as Karen has presented.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, Beth, roll call vote.
Bo,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Corey,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes, motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hey, Karen, don't go too far. Maybe, you may as well wrap up what you got going on. Thank you.
Sure, that'd be great, thank you, yep. Okay, so we did okay, Sarah Lawn loan agreement. Okay, so at the last, one of the recent board meetings, you agreed to to loan them $6 million. Well, I worked with Sarah Lawn on the loan agreement. We came up with a loan agreement. You should have a copy of it. And the loan agreement provides that we would pay the $6 million in 3 increments of $2 million each. The first one would be dispersed today, but would depend on the land purchase agreements. And right now, we don't have the land purchase agreements. So once we get the land purchase agreements, then we'll make the first disbursement of $2 million. The second disbursement would be in March 2022. The third disbursement of $2 million would be in July of 2022. The loan would be repaid back in quarterly payments after the commercial operations date or 7 years, whichever is earlier, yeah. So, the letter of intent that we did sign had a couple of sort of broad categories of authorized expenses, but in talking with Ron and Nico, we kind of expanded some of the more detail about the expenses, so that's in the loan agreement that you have, really. But the idea is it's only supposed to be spent on the project, just so you know. The county, under the loan agreement, has the right to demand immediate payment if they file for bankruptcy or a lien is against their assets and some other different things, really. They also agreed to provide us regular updates on the project. They're going to provide us their financial statements. I think that's about it, really. Yeah. I guess unless you had any questions. Sarah Lawn has already agreed to the terms of this loan agreement, so, yeah. So I'm just looking for a motion to approve the loan agreement and authorize Steve to sign.
Only when they've completed their acquisition of the land, right?
No, you can sign it now because the loan agreement currently says
Oh.
that the first disbursement will be today or once we get the loan, not the loan, but the land purchase agreements, whichever is later.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if I don't get the copies of the loan agreement, the land purchase agreements today, they won't be getting it today. And they understand that, so, and they're okay with that, so.
Perfect.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the agreement and authorize chairman to sign.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Beth, roll call vote.
David,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Corey,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes,
Bo,
Yes.
motion passes.
Super, thank you. All right, the last thing I have on the agenda is reorganization the board, a date change. Well, normally the board reorganizes itself and elects the chairman and vice chair their first meeting in December. However, right now, this year, we're working on the redistricting plan, and one of the members of the redistricting board is the chairman of the Board of County Commissioners, and the chairman of the board is also supposed to sign off on the redistricting plan that gets filed with the county auditor's office. And so because we're sort of in midstream with that, and, you know, I'm not quite sure when it's gonna get done, because we have to come with a little bit of a detailed statement for the plan. I guess I'm asking for the board to sort of move electing the chairman until the first meeting in January, which is possible, because under state law, it says at the first meeting of the Board of County Commissioners each year, the members of the board shall elect one of their number as chairman. So I think that in this instance, because there's not going to be any new elected board members that are going to be on the board in December, I think it would be okay to just push it back to the first meeting in January.
So Karen can get a breath, I would make that a motion.
Is there a second? Okay. David seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, Beth, roll call vote.
Barry,
Yes.
Corey,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes,
Bo,
Yes.
and David.
And yes.
thank you. Okay,
Thank you.
motion passes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Karen. I think, do we have enough time to cover the 1804 response? I'd see y'all later. Thank you all for coming. What happened to Lindsay? She got away. Yeah, exactly. Okay, well, I don't know. Is there anything to respond to the 1804 Marley NDDOT letter?
I just basically put it in such you guys could have the response back.
Yeah,
So it's just basically an FYI.
I think my takeaway obviously is there's some information that we need to get to them. Let's see, just from reading, it looks like we need to share some information. I guess they call on us to preserve right away, which Dennis, you might have to tell us what that all means. I understand, but I guess my also impression was a little frustrated because they talk about how you understand that this is going to take a long time. Well, I think we're aware of that, but I think we're also aware that a long time ago, we asked for this type of process. So whatever it takes, we need, because in discussion, I think with all this development, there is a lot more that's going to have to be done other than just an overpass. So I don't know, whatever we need to do to help. Dennis, if you know there's something you need from us, let us know.
Is there, should we be getting with Joel Wilt like right now? I mean, who should be getting, I guess is my question. Is it Dennis or is it one of us or?
help us understand. Yeah,
Let's just say it. Lindsay is putting together some of the things they asked for in the response letter to you guys. Lindsay is working on that, some of that, myself, and then we, when I say we, I was hoping she'd listen, but anyway, between her and I, we'll move it a little bit closer, and Cameron's involved with the zoning, so they've asked for a few things that we would like to get as much as we can ahead. Then we'll have a little small group with Joel, hopefully Joel and whoever else he thinks that we should, and hopefully we can get some better answers. Time-wise, a long time.
Yeah, well, a long time's gonna have to be shaved to a little, but
Well, good luck, Bo. We've been working on the east bypass for, 6, 7 years, and I tend to believe this is probably gonna be the same situation, because when they're talking right away, what they're probably asking is the Williams County not to make any changes in zoning and hold that zone for at least 10 years. And is that fair to the existing landowners?
very good.
So,
Correct.
well, and I personally think we need to discuss with DOT possibility of a traffic reliever route that would somehow bypass Trenton, and I understand that would be a big deal, but I think it's necessary. I mean, that whole area down there is getting inundated with a ridiculous amount of traffic now. So, the county, we need to be involved with that, but just so they know that that's gonna have to be on their radar soon as well, in my opinion, but I don't know what you guys think.
I think that'll all be part of this discussion soon,
Yeah.
sooner than later.
Yeah,
Do you
we need to,
think if you want to discuss this, you can discuss it late, I mean, after
yeah.
the executive
Yep, we
session?
got to recess and enter into executive session. Thank you. we'll reconvene. Do we need a motion first related to the executive session we just had? If anybody would be willing to make a motion to,
Yeah.
To-
Yeah, I would just make a motion to put the opioid litigation and possible settlement on the agenda for the last meeting in December of the board.
Clarify something for me, Karen, because I think we have 3 meetings in December, do we not? Which is the last meeting in your opinion?
Yeah, that would be mine. Yeah, because that's closest to the deadline of January 2nd, and so we want to give them as much time as possible to work with the AG's office, so, yeah.
fantastic.
You need that as a motion, yes? I will make that a motion.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
No, second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Beth, roll call vote.
Barry,
Yes.
Corey,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes,
Bo,
Yes.
David?
Yes.
motion passes. Okay, Beth, the floor is yours.
Yes, we have some repurchases today. We have the repurchase of Rochelle Chapman in Stony Creek Township. We have the repurchase of Eldo and Michelle Jacobson for some land, and I think it's Champion Township. We have SRD Leasing for repurchase and Brian Krug. And so we'll need a motion to approve the repurchase and authorize the chairman to sign the repurchase and the deed. Yeah,
We do
you can
them
do
as-
all 4 together.
Okay,
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we authorize the repurchases of the 4 applicants listed and authorize the chairman to sign.
is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Beth, roll call vote.
Can I also put, and authorize the chairman to sign the
He
deeds?
he
as
said
well?
that. Yep,
Corey,
Yes.
Steve,
yes,
Bo,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
and Barry.
Yes.
motion passes. Is that everything for you, Beth?
Yes, just to let you know that as soon as this is over, I won't be here for the park board. I'm going over to the tax sale. And we have, I believe, 5 parcels that we're going to be selling today, hopefully. And then Keith will be going with some of the repurchasers to unlock and stuff.
Gotcha. Okay, Helen, you're up. Be quick, but don't hurry. That's a famous saying from Hank Siglowski.
Thank you, Barry.
Okay, we're talking about meeting dates for 2022 and the handout that I gave you. Lindsay actually did some work to put these together in the last couple of weeks. Just a couple of notes highlighted there for you. Of course, we're 1st and 3rd. Park Board is noted as when they will land. You'll see that July 5th is a Tuesday. And in my 24 years here with you, that's the meeting that we struggle to hold and have a quorum for commissioners. So we're trying to have some forethought about if it makes sense to try and meet that day, or if we should bump the meeting to Thursday, June 30th. It's really too long for us to go the full month without a meeting, so we need to find a way to squeeze it in there. We add in the budget hearing dates, which has worked well for us. It makes those a regular meeting. We do set some tentative times sometimes when we talk about our yearly schedule, but of course it doesn't become a special meeting, so long as we meet on the day we're scheduled, even if we change the time. Then you see in September, we're trying to do a little better job with that UMDHU joint meeting day. Thinking that 8:30 hopefully gives you enough time
to do the joint meeting and make it here, or do it remotely, I think, as you did before. And then the Association of Counties does have their 2022 convention set for wetlands right across the first Tuesday of the month. So we would suggest a move to Wednesday, again, to avoid the rush back as we had today, or had this year. Then we have that last meeting of the year as well. And we did a better job. Sorry, remember, it's me who scheduled it on a holiday this year. So I'd leave it to you for discussion on these three items that need to be considered as a change, or it's not really a change because we haven't said it yet.
Is this the PM meeting again?
No, it would be just a normal time.
So Helen, just to help me with July 5th?
Yeah.
Thursday, the 30th. Okay, thank you. That's, I just read. Okay, what are the wishes of the board?
I would make a motion to follow the recommendations, including moving the July 5th to June 30th. And was the other one changed too, or is that just a 8:30, or
Yeah, it's an 8:30, it's same date, 8:30 time.
the September 20th to 8:30? And October 5th to the Wednesday.
Fantastic. Is there a second? Any discussion? Hearing none, Beth, roll call vote.
Steve,
Yes.
Bo,
Yes.
David,
And yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Corey.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right. On to the position report, which I did email late last night. Sorry about that. We do have two positions that we're seeking approval for, an equipment operator truck driver position at County Highway and a corrections officer at the sheriff's office.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the two requests.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Beth, roll call vote.
Bo,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Corey,
Yes.
Steve.
Yes, motion passes.
I'm going to modify some information that I had on the back side of the piece of paper. Commissioner Hanson got an email from the XWA director. He has been previously on that Airport Authority joint, whatever that was called. They're putting together a stakeholder advisory committee that will, and we got a little further information from Anthony this morning about, it's a group, they're gonna bring together folks from as far out as Tioga and Watford City to talk about future development along, kind of in that airport area within the property, it sounds like, that the city owns. So they're looking for a representative from Williams County to do that. Corey indicated he was interested, willing. I leave that up to you guys to discuss and decide. We do need to give the city a name. We need to give the airport director a name of who we've chosen. It isn't a term, it sounds like, there'll be a series of meetings over the next several months and then it would disband. So it's not I don't see it as a permanent, but I can list it on the, we'll track it a little bit.
I'll make a motion to appoint Commissioner Hanson to the XWA whatever committee.
Stakeholder Advisory Committee.
Okay, is there a second?
I will second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Beth, roll call vote.
David? Yes. Barry,
Yes.
Corey,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes,
Bo.
Yes.
motion passes.
All right, that's all I have for you today.
Fantastic.
Thank you. Yeah, I guess I can just give a quick report that I was selected, quite an honor actually, to go to a leadership academy or a leadership institute, I guess they call it, through the North Dakota Association of Counties. North Dakota nominates one person every, I think, 4 years. I was nominated to go. It was through the National Association of Counties, so I was gone most of last week, meeting with 22 other commissioners, elected officials, county leaders from across the country, learning about leadership, networking, and
I mean, I will tell you, when we get together with folks from across the country, things are going pretty good here compared to some of the challenges folks have. Economics are tough out there, tougher than we have them. And there's a lot of divisiveness that we actually don't have here, so. Yep, it was great. It was really nice, I thought, for the North Dakota Association of Counties to choose someone from the West. We end up often thinking that some of those big urban centers in our state get this kind of privilege, and so it was really nice.
Fantastic.
Yeah, kudos to you.
Yes. You earned that right.
Maybe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You gonna email
Okay.
me one of those, Helen?
That will adjourn just in time for breakfast.